All right, hello there, my fellow cinephiles. Welcome back. It's been another year. It's 2025 already. Can you believe it? We're halfway through the decade. COVID felt like 3 months ago, but it was 5 years ago. Wild. Anyways, this is my 2024 movie tier list. All right, and we're back once again with all of the movies I watched in the year 2024. Now we have a new category, and hopefully it's pretty straightforward. It's just a tier list. Of course, at the bottom here we have haven't seen it, but I want to. D is just straight up bad. C tier is one and done. I watched it, I didn't love it or hate it, and I probably won't watch it again. B is I would watch it again. C is, oh my gosh, I gotta buy it, preferably on Blu-ray, of course. And then S is an instant classic. It's the top of the top. It's the cream of the crop. I'm gonna be talking about these movies for many years to come. All right, let's get started. And I think it's just alphabetical. So, Arcadian, a Nicolas Cage monster movie. Okay, you have me intrigued. I'm gonna rate it an A tier. I really loved it, and I did actually end up buying the Blu-ray, and I've seen it again a couple times. The craziest thing I like about this is just the monster is so unique. I've never seen anything like it, and it's not even that scary, but it's just freaking weird. And that's why, like kind of like Jaws, a shark in and of itself isn't, particularly scary, but the way they film it, the way they like don't film it, the way they hide it. These monsters, like I don't even know how to like describe them. It doesn't relate to any monster movie or any like creature feature or any episode of Supernatural. There's nothing like it, and it's just freaking weird. Instant, yes. Next up is Alien Romulus. I rate this as an A tier. Gotta buy it. I saw it and I loved it. I love how they went back to the old school technology from the 70s and 80s of the original Alien movies. I do love how they had the newer tech in the prequels, like with Prometheus and stuff. And so it is kind of a weird mismatch if you think about it that way, but I love they went back with the old tech, and they also have it on VHS. I'd love to buy the VHS, but at this point they're all sold out and scalpers do be scalping, so I just ended up picking up the Blu-ray. And yeah, A tier. All right, Dear Santa. This one's an incredible concept. Again, I like those holiday movies because they're so rote at this point, right? But when a new idea comes along, it gets me really excited. At this point, I actually have not seen it. I haven't seen it yet, so it goes down here for now. But basically, this dyslexic kid writes a letter to Satan instead of Santa, and then, of course, Jack Black is Satan. So that's a great concept. I want to explore it, and we'll see what happens. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. My initial impression was it is fine. I was a little disappointed. I kind of overhyped it just a little bit because I'm a big fan of all of the Godzilla movies. In reality, though, I do really like it. I think it's an A tier. I'd love to buy it again. One problem that I'm running into, though, is I'm a little torn because all of the Godzilla movies so far have been in 3D, and now 3D is becoming less and less of a thing every single year. And like, that's fine, I get it, it's kind of a dead format, but there are still a handful of fanaticals. I am one of them, but at this point in time, Godzilla X Kong does not exist in 3D, so I'm not sure if I want to buy it or if I should wait for someone like Turbine, for example, to come out with a 3D version. I think that'd be really great. Next up is Heretic. Very creepy concept, especially considering I used to be a missionary once upon a time, like 10 years ago. At this point in time, I haven't seen it yet, but I really, really want to. I don't know if I'll be able to even watch it though, because like I used to be a missionary. So like just imagining this for myself, let alone some fellow sister missionaries, good gravy. That I don't know if I can handle the anxiety. All right, next up is Horizon, an American Saga, Part 1. I rate this as an A tier, mainly because one, I love long movies, and two, I'm actually in this one, and you can actually see me for a few of the shots, which is way cool. I'm also in Part 2. I'm not sure if I'm in Part 2. Part 2 was also supposed to come out this year. Part 1 didn't do so well in theaters, and so they pushed back the release, so we don't know when Part 2 is coming out just yet. And they were supposed to film a lot of Part 3 this year as well, but they kind of didn't do that with the extras. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I hope that Kevin Costner can finish this movie, or finish this movie series. And you bet your butt, I got the 4K Steelbook the second I saw that on Walmart shelves. Another movie I'm also in is Homestead. Although I'm not in this movie, I found my hat a couple of times off in the background, but you don't actually see me ever, which is too bad. I would like to buy this though. I really liked the setup and the dread and the build up, just like Horizon Part 1, the build up to something bigger. I am looking forward to seeing if we get more movies, especially filmed here in Utah. What's crazy, especially about this one, is my experience when I went to see it, and just in the middle of making this tier list, and Mochi's huffing and puffing. What do you want, Mochi? Huh? Are you sad that I'm talking to the computer and not to you? Huh? Does that make you so sad? I'm sorry, baby boy. Look what a handsome tater tot you've become. Such a handsome boy. All right, well, back to the video. So yeah, the craziest thing for me with Homestead is I actually, so this was filmed in Bountiful, Utah, and I actually had to drive past Bountiful to get to the movie theater. So on my way home, I'm just looking to my left up at the Bountiful Hills, and I'm just like, this is so crazy because literally this movie was filmed just over there. That was a real trip. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I really, really wanted to like this one, and I was careful not to overhype it, and I didn't. There were a few weird things that I didn't like. For example, a lot, like literally all of the characters from Kansas or Tennessee or wherever the past one was, for some reason or another, it just happened to be in this movie, and it's like really stupid. It's okay, like it would make sense if maybe one or two of them were back in New York, but like all of them are just randomly here for different reasons is ludicrous, and that really pissed me off. Gosh, I loved the plot and I loved the slow build up to the villain, but I felt like the movie kind of ended too quickly, and I wish they would have spent maybe 10 more minutes in the movie having the villain go from, you know, city block to city block, carefully freezing over Manhattan, looking for the MacGuffin, as the, you know, our intrepid Ghostbuster heroes try to launch countermeasures and things like that. The way it ended is fine, but I just felt with such an incredible buildup, it was just over in like a couple minutes, and that was really disappointing to me. For now, I'm gonna rate it a B tier. I'd absolutely want to watch it again. I'm not sure if I want to have it in my permanent collection. I do have Ghostbusters Afterlife and the female Ladies Ghostbusters in my permanent collection. Those two movies are like S tier. I love them to death. They're really, really good. But yes, I absolutely would watch it again. Dune Part 2, I would rate as an A tier. Same thing with Godzilla and Kong though, is that I have Dune Part 1 in 3D, but 3D wasn't even a thing in theaters for Dune Part 2. So I'm a little like, but I want everything in 3D. But yeah, eventually I'm gonna buy it. It's just like, it was filmed for IMAX and frankly IMAX, but like it's so gorgeous, and this is a really good movie, mostly in my opinion just for the eye candy. But yeah, it's just really, really good, and we're gonna get a part 3 in the next few years, which is also very exciting. All right, International Space Station looks very exciting. Just a little bit of a war on the International Space Station as war breaks out down below. I actually have not seen this yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I really want to see it. I just haven't yet, but the concept is very exciting. All right, next up we've got Madam Web. This one's just straight up bad. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, I really do want to buy it, if not just because I recorded my reaction in the movie theater and everyone else's reaction of just how cringe and just truly, truly awful this movie is. But for now, it's definitely D tier. It's absolutely bad. Maybe one day I will buy it just for the sake of the YouTube reaction video. But it's just awful. The ADR, it's a mess. It's really bad. All right, Despicable Me 4. I'm gonna rate that as a C, one and done. I liked it. I wouldn't mind watching it again if I have like future cousins or friends or little kids that want to watch it with me. Sure, yeah, let's rent it, let's watch it. You know, I actually haven't even seen the first one. I've seen the second one, and I've seen one of the Minion movies. They're fine, they're fun, but like they're not bad. They're just not really for me. All right, Rebel Moon Part 2. I haven't seen it yet. Sorry. But it looks freaking nuts, especially now that there has the Zack Snyder cut with the super extended, super violent versions. It's gonna be a good time, I think, for sure. Wicked, I really liked it. I think I definitely wanna add that to my collection. I really like the visual style. I love how things were done practically. And from my opinion, the music was really, really good. Jason disagreed a little bit. He really hated, and a lot of people agree with him, that how they cut up some of the music to like extend it a little bit, and how it messes with the flow of the original music is really irritating. And that totally makes sense. I really liked it though, so I'll pick it up at some point in time. Next up is Civil War. This one, I'm not sure if I want to rate it an S tier or an A tier. I already bought it. I bought the Blu-ray. I bought it the day it came out. This movie is so scary, and so just, it's scary in the sense that like America has never really had war here, aside from, you know, the original Civil War in the 18 whenever, which actually Horizon takes place during the original Civil War. I think I want to rate this an S tier because it's a war movie, but it's just different than any other war movie that I've personally seen. I really like the photographic journalistic perspective, how these four journalists traverse through the eastern seaboard on the American coast, trying to get to the president because they hear that this evil tyrannical president is going to be assassinated, so they're trying to race against the military to interview him before he gets killed. And all of the wild and crazy and just eerie things they see on the way. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an S tier. I don't necessarily have nightmares about it, but I think about it all the time and just how visceral it is, especially considering like how tumultuous this past American Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump presidential election has been. Whew, I hope we can calm down and unite a little bit more. Yeah, that's a really visceral, like plausible look at what a civil war on American soil could look like in the 21st century. All right, next up is Kraven the Hunter. I actually would watch that again. I might even consider buying it. I thought it was okay. I honestly thought it was okay. I don't know, like I didn't leave the theater thinking, wow, I gotta watch it again and I need it, right now. But I would definitely watch it again. Unlike Madam Web, another Spider-Man adjacent movie. Kraven it's really well made. I definitely would like to see where the story goes from, though I don't think we'll ever get to see that because Sony kind of canceled their extended Spider-Man universe of movies, which is fine. The Venom movies are really good. So speaking of Spider-Man adjacent, that's 3 Sony Spider-Man movies in 1 year, holy cow. Venom, actually was really good. I'm gonna rate it an A tier though, if I can. Uh-oh, what's going on? Having some technical difficulty here. Can I not drag this? Rate it an A tier, but it's not letting me drag it over there right now for some reason. But yeah, I really loved like the buddy cop kind of camping road trip type of vibes that this had. All right, next up, A Quiet Place Day One. I am a huge fan of the Quiet Place movies, so much so that I've even made a fan film, so you can please go watch that at the end maybe. This is an easy S tier classic, like immediately like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I really liked how they saved this for later and how the first 2 movies build a lot of tension with that one family, but then we get a completely different perspective from a completely different set of characters on day 1. That's very exciting. I also kind of made I mentioned I made my little fan film, and speaking of which, I also made a Horizon fan film when I was on set. So I'm gonna link all of that in the description afterwards. So you should definitely watch all that. Inside Out 2, also I think an instant classic, but I'm actually just gonna rate it as an S tier. What is going on? All right, we're back and we are riddled with advertisements and I don't know how to get rid of them. All right, next up we've got Dee Dee. Really cool movie, really relatable about a middle schooler in 2008 who starts a YouTube channel and just has a video camera and screws around with friends. I'm sorry, but that is 100% relatable because that's exactly what I did in 2008 with my friends. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it yet. I'm guessing it's going to be S or A tier, but for now I haven't seen it yet. And speaking of running around in 2008 with my camera with friends, The Agents Biohavoc Protocol, instant S tier classic. What the heck is this movie? I've never even seen it. Well, it's actually a secret agent movie that I made with my friends in 2008. But Parker, this isn't a 2008 tier list, it's a 2024 tier list. And you'd be right, because I spent 3 months, 2024, remastering this movie and releasing it for the first time for free on YouTube, which I also have linked after this video and in the description below. Please go watch my movie. Basically, the original one, I couldn't share anywhere because it uses a bunch of copyrighted music. James Bond, Jason Bourne, Halo, Super Smash Bros. And so I was never able to share it aside from burning a couple of DVDs for friends. But I found an AI app that removes the background audio, or at least it separates the voice and the background music. So I ran my whole movie through it and oh my gosh, it worked really, really well. It was like 90% accurate. And then I used another AI video app actually right here in my dock, Topaz Video AI. Used that to upscale it to HD, and that also worked very, very well. The original one is called, we just made it up, Jazuma Ritois, The Gift of Revenge. Ooh, sounds stupid. But this new one, The Agents Biohavoc Protocol. Please go watch it. It's a lot of fun. And it's like an hour long. Just keep in mind that it was made by a bunch of 14 and 15-year-olds in 2008 with a videotape camera. But yeah, go watch it. Instant classic. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I want to say it's also an instant classic, but I'm just going to rate it an A tier for now. I really, really liked it. I was careful not to overhype it. Okay, next up, Borderlands. Everyone is saying Borderlands is a bad movie, and I agree with that. However, so I don't know where to put it because I bought it immediately. This is definitely a go buy this movie because I'm a huge Borderlands fan. It's not as bad as people say, and you can agree, you can disagree. That's totally fine. I am going to leave it down here in the bad category for now, even though I did buy it. I actually just watched it last week, and I was like, yeah, this is a bad movie, but I love it. I love that they took risks, and I love that they tried to do something different. A few basic plot threads and principles of the games, and they turned it into its own thing. It didn't work very well, but I like Deadpool and Wolverine. It's one and done for me, C tier. I don't really care for the Deadpool movies. I just think they're stupid. It is cool that they're now Marvel adjacent and that he used his little device to teleport briefly into the MCU and have a little chit chat with Happy Hogan. That was pretty cool. But I don't know, it was fine. I didn't hate it, but it's not really, I don't really care about Deadpool. All right, next up, Nostafaru. Definitely a one and done. I saw this with Jason just a few weeks ago in theaters, and it is a weird, disturbing, disgusting movie. I didn't like it. I don't think it was a bad movie. It was well acted, it was well made, but one and done for me. I'm not interested in watching that movie ever again. Next up, War for the Rohirrim, Lord of the Rings. Woo! The first new Lord of the Rings movie in 20 years because Return of the King came out in 2004, I think. For this one, definitely an A tier. Can't wait to pick it up and add it to my Lord of the Rings collection. Next up is Rebel Ridge. Looks fascinating, but I have not seen it yet. I mean, I've got Netflix, so I can just go watch it right now if I wanted to. Same thing with Rebel Moon. Okay, Red One, another thing, just like Dear Santa. For now, I rated a B tier. I absolutely would watch it again, but I love the originality. As far as I'm aware, we've never had a movie, or at least I've never seen a movie where Santa Claus gets kidnapped. Ooh, Nightmare Before Christmas. My bad. And there's a whole special forces team dedicated to all this supernatural stuff to go and get him back. And Captain America's in it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I definitely would watch it again. All right, next up is Incoming. I actually have not seen this yet, but it was actually filmed in California at my cousin's high school, which is pretty cool. But also the main actor guy is gonna be in the new How to Train Your Dragon movies, which I'm looking forward to. Also on my radar, but I haven't seen it yet, Lisa Frankenstein, mainly just because Cole Sprouse, he's just gorgeous and I like watching him in movies. But also it's a different enough concept that it grabbed my attention, so I'm definitely interested in it. To wrap it up, how do you pronounce her name? Lupita Nyong'o is the Wild Robot, and for me, this is an instant classic. I love this movie. A really good year for Pita right here. Quiet Place Day One and The Wild Robot, both S-tier movies for me personally. Absolutely darling movie. Go watch it. Even if you don't like animated movies, even if you don't like talking animal movies, I really do think you're gonna love it. Well, all right, I guess that's the list for 2024. Yeah, what was your favorite movie? All right, we'll see you next year.